So, Ibbi, when did you actually start producing? When did you start producing and making tracks?
The kind of lo-fi stuff, or the kind of heavy rock stuff, or just
I
in
suppose
general?
in general, just like kind of the first time you sat down like at a computer or in a studio
Yeah,
and thought, I'm gonna make some music and
that
it's gonna be
was
my music.
oh that well. I think the first time I got into producing was in the final year of secondary school. What's that? Year
Hmm.
10, year 11, something like that. And I was given a chance to feature on an album, and I played quite a lot of classical music on the piano, and and I was being influenced by everyone at the time. I wanted to play guitar, but I was definitely better at the piano. So we recorded some live piano, and it was all set up with mics, and I was so interested in what was going on backstage rather than what I was actually playing. So I was like, well, can I actually spend some time myself in the studio, with a Midi keyboard? And that's when I found out on a Midi keyboard you can play drum parts, you can play virtually any instrument you want that is sampled. And that was the first time I produced on a Logic. It was Logic 9 back then, um, back in secondary school, and it was an absolutely shit production. It was a jazz production, but none of it was mixed. It sounded all fake, and then I went to college, and I learnt a bit about production there, studying music tech, um, and started to make my own tracks. And all the tracks I made were about 6 minutes long, like 6-7 minutes long. Like everyone was like, "You can't do that to a track. You can't play the same chord for 6 minutes." I was like, "Why not?" So, so that was it. And then just slowly started to read up about music production. I went to school in Hackney, right? And
Yeah.
everyone in my class, what they wanted to do was smoke weed and make grime music, right? Whereas what I did is I was more academic than that, so I started to read up about how to make your production sound good, rather than just make it a composition. I just wanted to make it sound better. So that's what I was doing. That they were smoking weed, and they're successful now. They're making grime music in the grime industry, and I'm making different types of music, but they've all got that same kind of bass heavy sound.
Yeah. Your stuff is interesting in that, like, I can see when you make tracks, you pull from quite a lot of different influences. Like, it's not just grime. Like some of your tracks sound a bit exotic in places, and some of it sounds almost like a. I don't want to say like Ibiza. That's not the right kind of atmosphere, but it's like. But some of it sounds a little bit Latin as well.
Yeah,
There's some influences coming from a lot of places.
yeah. I mean, the guitar stuff I make at the moment, lots of people saying you sound like Carlos Santana with that tone, and they're like, "Do you listen?" Stuart Bruce, one of our lecturers at school at college university, he was like, "You sound like Carlos Santana. Do you listen to a lot of Carlos?" And I was like, "You know what? I actually don't."
Yeah.
And so, but if I do listen to him, I love his music. So it's not every sound that I make has been influenced to me directly. So that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's just what kind of happens on the day. Do you find that if you just start making a track and you're just playing around with sounds, playing around with different chord sequences, whatever, it does just happen to be like, that's very different to what I did last time. Let's go with that.
I mean, when I make music, if I find, I listen to music and I don't think of it as a song. I think of it as kind of the timbre. How does it sound on the ear palette? Is it smooth? Is it rough? And that's what I go with, because ultimately I want to get a nice smooth sound with, especially if I'm making bass heavy music and kind of jazzy influences. I want it to sound smooth. So that's where the sound comes from. It comes from what does the sound like, rather than do these chords work, you know. I think you can sing over anything if you can, well, especially when I loop stuff. If I loop the right section and it works to my ears and there's a beat to it which I can sing or rap over, then I think it'll work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's play some Ibbi.
You want to play some me?
Ibbi and Rosa. Maserati
Okay.
Bristol Smile. Let's go.
If you've got a feeling that you can't put into words, don't worry, friends.
Because there's a song for that.